Radical.
Welcome to Radical Rapid Fire Commerce Response for March the 20th through March the 26th, 2023. Short comments, quick replies. Terry W. Retailing is so impersonal these days, we push a button or deal with it online. It is so nice to actually interact with a real human vendor, and you get to listen to their stories. I would say a lot of people feel that same way as you do, Terry W., because it's a different feeling going into a shop. Let's say a game store or a comic store. You're going into an actual shop to look through all this stuff, and then you choose to make a purchase. And even though people will argue it's a lot easier to buy things online and you can look at pictures of it, it's just different. So with me, I buy things online and offline, in stores personally. And, if it's online something, if it's a cord I need for a game controller, yeah, I'll probably buy it online. But if it's something like, let's say a comic book, or if it's something like, a video game, then I like to go inspect it and look at it all around before I buy it. Also, if you buy something online, there's really no guarantee it's going to work, specifically if you buy something on eBay. At least if you go to a store and you buy something and it doesn't work, you can bring it back pretty easily to the store, but it's a whole process if you have to send something back through the mail online and everything. Horndog 2058. Radical Rick voted for Trump confirmed. Well, I talked about this before, how I don't really care that much about politics, and there'll be people that will put signs for politicians in their yard, and I just look at it as mostly a waste of time. Let me explain. Can you tell me one politician on a certain level that is not compromised? Can you show me one politician on a certain level that has not indulged in criminal activities, low or high? Can you? And like right now, with this whole carnival that has been this presidential race with Trump and then Biden, the fucking vegetable, and now Kamala, I just don't pay any attention to it. I don't. Because for all the people that say, well, if this person gets elected, it's the end of democracy. I don't think it's going to be the end of democracy if either one of those people get elected, or in the case of Trump, reelected, because, a lot of the people that were saying we can't have democracy anymore because Trump is going to be elected. Well, during that time period, I think a lot of people were shocked that it was pretty much mostly the same. Life was mostly the same. There might be differences here and there, but people act as if a decision that you make on that scale to vote for Trump or not vote for Trump is going to be a landmark decision. I don't think so. And recent history will tell you that things kind of pretty much wind up the same regardless of who you vote for. But I think people just need to feel that, well, they're making a huge difference. And because they're voting for somebody that, in the case of Trump, it's not a person I could ever vote for. Neither Trump or Kamala. I could never vote for one of those two people. Just because, why the fuck am I going to waste my time putting my support behind somebody that is either a criminal or, well, no, it's just stupid. So, no, not confirmed. Unconfirmed. I'm not voting for anyone there, Horndog. Penguin Wizard 6969. TurboGrafx 16 is a great console with many fun games. Probably my favorite console that was not a huge success. Sadly, it's not cheap to collect for, so I don't think it's worth it at this point. I've seen prices on the TurboGrafx 16. It's pretty crazy. I mean, it's pretty crazy to pay for one in reasonable condition. But that's how things are now when it comes to retro gaming stuff. To find something that's kind of obscure, a 3DO, a TurboGrafx 16, I would much rather, personally, spend money on something that I'm going to have a hell of a good time playing, and I'm going to pay an amount for it that's not really insane. Like, why would I want to spend $500-$600 to get a TurboGrafx 16 and variety of games in good condition versus getting like an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5? I just don't see any reasoning I would do that unless I was just dedicated to playing some of those games. Because you look at it this way, that's an ancient system. It is a system that easily can be emulated online. Unless you have a personal connection to it and maybe had it when you were a kid or something, I don't see spending that kind of money on something like that unless it's like maybe an investment for investment reasons. But no, I'm going to play something that is a pretty decent value. Like, you can get a PlayStation 3 or an Xbox 360 for around $100. Why wouldn't you just get one of those if you're just into playing a lot of great games? So there's values out there. The TurboGrafx-16, it's kind of a, I guess, rare console, so it's got fun games, but ultimately, especially if you're on a budget, it's just not worth it. Joe Rogan 9554. Off-topic question: do you need a business license to be a flea market vendor? I looked up my local one here in Canada, and they need me to get one first. Well, also, I'm going to stop saying the numbers after, because the way YouTube changed things up a little bit, they put numbers after everybody and everything. So that's just an old habit. I'm not going to add the numbers. So if any of you have a certain, let's say if you have 6969 or 2005, I'm just going to like not say that, even if you mean it to be part of your name. So, but to your question, you wanted to know if you needed a business license. I don't know how things are up in Canada. I don't know. I know here in the States, you don't need an actual business license. It's pretty awesome, actually. It is close to basically having your own store. You can literally, I don't have one of the bigger stores there. Mine is mostly, it's two tables I fashion into a store. If you've seen the videos on my flea market stories, or if I've described. But it's really cool because you do not need to have a business license. You don't have to worry about any of that. You basically, in my instance, I go up to the office, you provide your details, your ID, you tell them what you're going to be selling. I can just tell you about, like, in my instance. So the flea market is a wonderful middle way between yard selling and having your own store that you have to pay power for, that you have to pay all this stuff for. It's a great middle ground. But I know it's been a year or so, but if you're still around, Joe Rogan, I hope that you figure that out and you're able to sell now at the flea market. Penguin Wizard. Sony could always bring back Killzone or SOCOM if they want to have their own COD. It's a great point. Sony has a lot of IPs. One that people bring up a lot is Parappa the Rapper that they want to see again. But SOCOM and Killzone, yeah, they could totally just bring those back if they want to have their own version of COD. You think about it, Call of Duty is not such a unique franchise. I mean, how many games out there are similar or try to be similar to Call of Duty? It's the fact that it's got the name. It can't be all that hard to make a game similar to Call of Duty. But, you know, it's got the sales. It's got the following. There's a lot of people that will step over SOCOM and Killzone to get to the newest Call of Duty. So, yeah, you also said after... well, on to the next comment, which was very similar from Jordan. I know Microsoft won't stop Call of Duty on PlayStation because it makes good business sense, but after Sony's behavior and rank hypocrisy, I love Microsoft to screw them over and say, you had your chance. No COD for you. Kind of like Seinfeld, no soup for you. Yeah, they totally could do that, and that's what Sony was desperately afraid of. Think about it right now. Everyone talks about Sony winning the console war, being up and everything, but they were so frightened. They were so frightened at the idea that Microsoft would take Call of Duty off the table. So what a weak position that they were in. That they basically had to argue and make all these arguments that it was too much of a monopoly and everything. Call of Duty it's a game. And Activision Blizzard, yeah, they're big, but... their argument was basically, oh, they're taking too much of the market share and everything. I just thought it was really, really weak on their part. And you have Daddy Microsoft in a way like, okay, shut the fuck up. Okay, pipe down. We'll still let you have Call of Duty. But secretly, like you said, it would make bad business sense for Microsoft, even though they might posture that. The other side of looking at it is more PlayStations sell than Xboxes. Specifically now that Microsoft, for whatever reason, is downplaying the actual Xbox. So, yeah, they're going to continue to let Call of Duty be on the PlayStation platform, but it doesn't mean that they can't have special deals or maybe like special DLC or something like that might be exclusive to the Microsoft system. So then they win. They get to say like, hey, we have exclusives on the Xbox, but you can still play it. Pipe down. You guys, as for Sony, you can still play it on your systems. Hooded Farmer. I would take out what I would want in my DVD collection, and then I would throw 3 trays out and sell. Once those are sold out, I would take the rest out from the back of my vehicle and sell until there's nothing left. But if there's something left, I would take those back with me and put them out at the next flea market. Well, what I do right now is, number one, I sell my movies for a little more than most people do at the flea market. And it can be tough breaking through with DVD sales, because there are people selling DVDs right now for a quarter at the flea market. So if I sell them for $3 to $4, that's 10 times plus more what someone can get movies somewhere else at. It's more like specifically if they're looking for a certain movie. For instance, there was a lot of people who looked at my movies, but I had an Elmo movie. And it was even a sealed Elmo movie. They didn't even see the fact that it was sealed. I had it out for 20 minutes, and someone came by and they said, hell yeah, no one else has an Elmo movie. My kid loves Elmo. So it's about really what you have. But to the DVDs that are not sought after, I can't really move those that quick. But still, I'm not going to sell those for 25 cents because that doesn't make any sense. So what I do is I put out pretty much, well, I'll go into more detail, Hooded Farmer, later on about like everything I do. In fact, I might have it as a little video segment on a show-off story in detail. I promise I will go over that. But yeah, but your strategy also would work pretty good. Also, Art Bell. News. Nudie mobile star Stormy Daniels is being referred to in the press as the adult star who can derail Trump. This is a language trick to class up a useful person of disrepute in a messy situation, boost her up to strengthen her claims against the ex-president, then after toss her aside. Well, that's interesting that they would call her first a porn star, but now they're calling her an adult star, right? You're not a porn star, you're an adult star, right? Class her up a little bit. Okay, well, if you're sucking dongs, if you're sucking guys' Twinkies on film, you know, I don't know how to class that up. There was one, unrelated, what was that, Maya Khalifa or something, that very popular porn star that was attached to Drake, I believe, or he wanted to get with her. And she's surprised how she's trying to move on from the porn, and she doesn't want to talk about it anymore. Well, if you're going into entertainment and you're moving on from it, and someone sees you getting nailed in the booty, then it's kind of like the elephant in the room, right? You can't, you have to embrace that as part of who you are, who you were. You have to embrace it. You can't just look over it and go like, well, you keep talking about that porn stuff. When people interview you, guess what? The guys are going to be thinking about that. But yeah, that's a good point. Trying to lend her credibility, strengthen her claims against the ex-president. Listen, honestly, I don't know one way or the other. He says, I didn't sleep with a porn star. He says that. She says one thing. The only people that really, really know are the people that were there in the room. And I wouldn't want to be in the room where all that stuff is happening. Could you imagine all the orange stuff that was all around the room? Because when you sweat, probably all of his orange just like flies everywhere and everything. But yeah, I really don't, Art. I don't want to think about that anymore. I'm moving on because I just, oh, man. He tugs her hair, then she tugs his hair, and he's like, whoa, 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 put the hair back on. I don't want to think about him having. Ew. Yeah. Matt Tracker, Twinkies for games. Can I get in on this? I will supply the junk food and we can split the games. But you should have worked a deal out for your spot. You can use my spot, but I'm going to need a little something for my troubles. Well, in the case of if it's like an attractive female, yeah, I can work out a deal. I got 2 spots there at the flea market. 2 tables pretty much. But if it's a certain special kind of female and there's, some in it for me, hey, I could work out some deals. But mostly it's just me. Okay? Junk food for games. That's an interesting concept, right? Because sometimes they go hand in hand. A lot of people might be playing a game and literally be, honking down a Twinkie. They might be eating some Doritos, Cheez-Its. The things kind of go hand in hand, because if you're playing a game, especially for a long session, you might say, well, I got to give me a bag of Doritos. I got to give me some Cheetos. And you might have like lots of Cheeto dust on your hands, get on the controller. I know sometimes there's dry crud and crumbs in game controllers that I get that I have to clean up. But Twinkies, though, that's interesting. I think the key here is if you are dealing with a games vendor or seller that is really big, like a fatty, someone that looks like Wings of Redemption or ViewTech USA. And if you got a box of Twinkies, they might be hungry, and you can use that to your advantage. You can, you just be walking around and going like, man, I just have so many boxes of Twinkies I picked up, man. Gosh, I just can't wait to get into these Twinkies. And you take one out and start eating it. You start rolling Twinkie around your mouth, and you look at the Wings of Redemption type person, and you say, you know what? I really do need that game. I would need that to complete my collection of Hitman games. But I don't have any money on me. Maybe you drop a little bit of the Twinkie down, let it roll down your chin and everything. The cream hits the top of your shirt, and then he's like, do you want to... Can I have a box of Twinkies? Yes, you can have a box of Twinkies for this Hitman game. So yeah, you got to pretty much know to work that deal out. Twinkies for games, it can work.